Hello and good morning. This video's on what is meditation and how we do it. But before I begin, if there's anybody that has any questions out there, or if you simply disagree with what I'm saying, please don't be afraid to leave a comment, or if you would like to contact me directly, you can email me at trentsuing@gmail.com, TRENTSUING@gmail.com. And if you disagree, hey, great. Let's talk about it. Let's find the common ground between our, different perceptions. I just have so much information that I've learned over the last 2 years, and if you will, spiritual wisdom that I've gained, that I just want to share with other people, but I cannot get anybody to listen unless they want to know. Therefore, promoting questions or whether or not you want to debate something, I'm totally open. There's nothing anybody could say to me that would offend me. This is about achieving a higher state of being. To me, all I want to do is show everybody else how to first connect, with their inner spirit. That way they can make their own decision on what their absolute truths are. But to get back to what is meditation and how do we do it? Well, science will tell you that meditation is a technique to train attention and awareness and detach from reflexive, discursive thinking, achieving a mentally clear and emotionally calm, stable state of being while not judging the meditation process itself. What does that mean to me? Basically, what we're trying to achieve is we're trying to float in spirit, totally detached from our physical self, recognizing our inner spirit and distinguishing the difference between the two. Think of it almost as recognizing a second thought pattern within your mind, or a third, because we have the subconscious as well. But if you look at on the screen, and if you look at how science's definition is, I went along and I highlighted, in white for absolute truth, pure awareness, and yellow in regards to our physical mind. But if you look at the scientific definition in itself, it automatically starts telling us how we do it. That we first must train attention, awareness, detach. We must achieve mental clarity, calm, stable state of being through meditation. And in order to do that, we must first recognize and subdue the emotional side of our being, and stop judging the process, because what we're trying to do is literally subdue the physical mind. I know that sounds crazy and it's really hard to understand, but there's techniques that I can show you or explain to you that starts getting the mind to recognize that there's an undeniable distinction between your inner spirit or the spiritual realm and your physical being. And in past videos, I've discussed the difference between, whether you accept that you have a spirit within you, or whether you have an atheistic perspective. If you don't believe that you have a spirit within you, then chances are you haven't even clicked on this video, because you would be looking more for reality TV shows to have other people tell you what the truth is, instead of learning how to recognize it within yourself. Now, if we're able to subdue the physical mind, literally realize that your thoughts, you can actually upstage them, you can actually see them as they're taking place. And the way that you do this is you do it by being able to connect to a higher, self-awareness. And when you connect to a higher self-awareness, after you've subdued your physical mind, after you're preventing yourself from tracking, that is the basically the discursive thinking or the automatic reactive thinking. And this is why it's important not to judge the process, because if you're judging the process of reaching a meditative state and trying to get to a spiritual realm, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be subduing your physical mind. You're supposed to be shutting it down. And there's easy ways that I can, show people how and explain, so that you can do it yourself. And if it doesn't work for you, all you have to do is comment, and I'll give you some more advice on things to try. Now, I've done the Brain Sync project, the Neuro Sync, all the different programs, if you will, or scams, if you will, that are trying to teach you how to achieve meditation abilities, so you can start manifesting. Well, if you listen to what the manifestation recommendations are, you'll see that those aren't wholesome, desires that people are seeking. They're more of a selfish intent, more of a greed aspect, if you will, and that would, from a magic realm or from a spiritual realm, would be considered, dark spirit that you're summoning because you're doing it for yourself. But once you're able to subdue the physical mind and able to reach a spiritual realm and float in spirit, then you start achieving the superhuman abilities, one could say, through spiritual wisdom. It gives you a different perspective that you're not able to recognize when you're viewing life through your physical mind. And it also gives us the ability to accept destiny while we're living reality on reality's terms. Because living reality on reality's terms is kind of stepping back and seeing it from the full perspective. This brings us to meditation versus prayer. Now, meditation has been around for 4,500 plus years. Prayer has also been around 4,500 plus years. But meditation is used to quiet and subdue the mind, versus prayer is used to speak to the spiritual realm, if you will, or speak to one's God. According to biblical interpretation, Noah's flood occurred around 4,500 years also. And one must ask themselves, is that a coincidence? Now, meditation has religious ties in ancient India, Egypt, China, as well as within Hinduism, Jainism, Judaism, Sikhism, Buddhism, Christianity, and even in ritual magic. Now, some say that prayer began in the Garden of Eden when Eve prayed to God after speaking to her husband. Now, what is very important here, though, to recognize is that think of prayer as a way of asking for something, as a way of asking for wisdom, asking for the wisdom to become a better person, or to know the truth about something, to know the future, whatever you desire, as long as it's within a righteous way. Then prayer gives you the ability to ask the spirit realm your desires. Now the difference between that and meditation, you're not going to be able to effectively hear the answers that you'll be receiving from prayer unless you've practiced meditative skills, because we have to remember, you're not going to be able to hear, and receive the knowing from the spirit realm if you can't even simply control your physical mind enough to quiet it, to shut it down, to take away its voice so that you can hear the alternative voice, which comes from within the spirit, within your own spirit, which ultimately you can see it coming from the Holy Spirit, from the divine main source of energy. An easier way of distinguishing the difference between prayer and meditation is prayer establishes a deeper communication with your God, which technically is the spiritual realm, the spirit realm, and meditation does not involve the connection to a higher power. Instead, meditation is subduing the mind, quieting the mind, floating within spirit, and the goal is to notice the difference between the physical realm and the spiritual realm. Because if you can't distinguish the difference between the two, how do you expect to know what the answer is that you're receiving from the spiritual realm versus your self-created illusion by your subconscious and your physical mind? The different techniques I've used, I've done meditative breathing, I've done yoga, I've done guided meditation. As I mentioned in the past, I've done the neurosync, the brain sync, the hemisync, all the different meditative programs that attempt to, teach you how to meditate. But honestly, what it comes down is to the most simplest form I feel is most effective. And once you are able to establish this simple form and in essence, this gateway, then you are able to start understanding how you can do it with your eyes open, how you can do it walking down the street, or even working if you're not distracted. And this is what I use to get into a zone initially, to allow myself to distinguish the characteristics of my physical mind as well as how I can observe things without putting thought into it. The Metatron that is on the screen is a good introductory way to explore deep meditation. Now, what this gives you the ability to do is recognize and distinguish between your inner spiritual self and your physical mind. If you will take, and ideally you're in a dark room and have this up on a laptop screen. If not, just stare at the center of the Metatron where all the lines intersect at the very center point. And if you just keep concentrating at that point and relax your mind, not move your eyes around, you will notice that you're able to start picking up a lot of different perspectives, a lot of different perceptions. You're able to see different shapes without moving your eyes around. For example, a 3D cube starts taking up the perimeter. But if you relax and just keep staring at it and don't expect to see anything, just keep your mind focused on that one simple part, you'll start noticing an energy, kind of like a ball of energy within the cube. And imagine that as spirit. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to become one with that energy within the cube. This is a great practice. If you do it for about 5 minutes, 3 to 4 times a day, you're going to start feeling your body being able to relax and start feeling energy flowing through your body. This is the first step of being able to access the gateway, if you will, to get into a spiritual realm. I hope that this has helped. By all means, if there's any questions, please just ask. Even if you think what I'm saying is wrong or whatever, it will not bother me. And I'm doing this strictly out of love. I hope this helps. Have a great evening.